Hello, ladies and gentlemen. As we all have been seeing, the Africa Cup of Nations has not disappointed whatsoever. Loads and loads of upsets. Today I'll be giving you my quarterfinal predictions. But before we do that, I guess I gotta show you all my amazing resume of my round of 16 predictions. Starting off with Nigeria versus Cameroon. Flip of a coin. Both teams are a bit underwhelming at the moment, but I'm gonna go for Nigeria to advance. Who will play them though, Angola or Namibia? I have to say, based on Angola's surprising form, I think they have what it takes. Cape Verde versus Mauritania. Both of these nations have slaughtered some giants in this competition, but I'm going for Cape Verde to advance to the quarters. Morocco versus South Africa. South Africa actually did beat Morocco in 2023. With the amount of upsets in this tournament, this could easily be one of them, but Morocco are still my favorites to win the whole thing. Mali versus Burkina Faso is so tough to choose. I'll say Burkina Faso, just do it. Now for Senegal versus Ivory Coast. Ivory Coast barely qualified for the round of 16, with their manager resigning after getting destroyed by Equatorial Guinea 4-0. Yeah, I think I have to choose Senegal here. Egypt versus DR Congo. I'll say Egypt's unbeaten streak continues. And Equatorial Guinea versus Guinea. Equatorial Guinea make it to the quarterfinals back-to-back for me. A strong start, but everything went crumbling at the end. 3 out of 8 correct. Do I feel bad about it? Not necessarily. I know many of you messed up on your predictions as well. Even after we saw such a twist in the group stage, many people were not expecting Ivory Coast to redeem themselves after being one of the most disappointing teams in the Africa Cup of Nations, really relying on other teams' results in order to advance to the knockouts. Doing so against the most informed team in the tournament. Senegal had 3 for 3 wins in the group stage, a massive win against Cameroon as well. Most people did not see that coming. There's many other examples, obviously, and I really wasn't expecting my favorites of the tournament, Morocco, to get knocked out this soon. Literally nobody would have predicted that Morocco, Senegal, Cameroon, Egypt, Algeria, and Ghana would all be knocked out before the quarterfinals. But here we are. But as always, let me know how you guys did in the round of 16 predictions and what your predictions are for the quarterfinals. Drop another like if you haven't already, and subscribe to the channel as well. Let's try to hit 2,000 likes on this video. Let's start things off with Nigeria versus Angola. A clear favorite on paper, without a doubt, but Angola have been such a surprise package this tournament. They've caught everybody absolutely off guard. Maybe a side that could squeeze through for the 3rd place finish, maybe impress and get 2nd, but no, they topped their group. Undefeated as well, really picking up momentum as the tournament progressed. This side before the tournament began, I had a feeling could have some impressive defensive displays, but they went all out here and ended up scoring loads of goals. Changed up the tactics clearly against Mauritania, as they conceded 2 to them, which is a bit unusual, but they still came out on top, scoring 3. A clean sheet and 2 goals scored against Burkina Faso, though many did not predict, and they went on to cruise through against Namibia in the round of 16, defeating them 3-0. Sure, you can argue that they had one of the more easy round of 16 fixtures set for them, but there is no denying how impressive this nation has been. And you gotta give them all the credit, especially because they had a few very important players on paper missing for this tournament, and they're still absolutely balling out. The attackers Gelson Dalla and Mabululu are in seriously impressive form, and it's going to be interesting to see how this underrated attacking unit perform against Nigeria, who on paper should have the best attack in the tournament. Yet surprisingly, their most famous player, Victor Osimhen, the most valuable player in the tournament as well, has yet to score a goal. They've still been pulling through with the results. I said that they were disappointing in this tournament on the short because I expected a lot more from this attacking unit. In the group stage, they only scored 1 goal max a match, but then against Cameroon, we saw Lookman step up for a brace. Despite me slightly criticizing the attacking performances, Nigeria are still doing the job and are actually looking like a very organized team. I was criticizing this side from the beginning, as prior to this, their defensive record was not looking great. They conceded loads of goals in 2023. However, at the moment, they are 3 matches unbeaten with clean sheets for each one. They only conceded 1 goal so far at the very beginning of the tournament to Equatorial Guinea, which finished in a draw. So the defense on this team has really caught me off guard, and I gotta say, very, very impressed with them. They really made Cameroon struggle in that round of 16 match, as they failed to get a single shot on target. In my initial predictions, I said in the knockouts, Nigeria looked like a side to get knocked out in the round of 16 once again, as they were in the last Afcon, and they weren't, like I said, looking too impressive in 2023. But this year, this tournament, they're just building momentum, continuing to impress. I really hope Nigeria are not getting too ahead of themselves. I don't think they are, but they 100% should not underestimate Angola. I think most teams at this point know in this tournament that no team should be outruled. Will we finally see Victor Osimhen score his first goal in the Africa Cup of Nations? I'm not sure. I'm going to say potentially, though, he does, and Nigeria grab a narrow 1-0 victory. Obviously, anything's possible. It's Afcon. Best of luck to Angola, but my pick will be Nigeria to advance. Next up, DR Congo versus Guinea. Two teams I did not predict to make it. this far in the tournament. Big shout out to Congo. They have made it all the way to the quarterfinals without winning a single match. Yes, you heard that right. They haven't lost any either though. They went the group stage undefeated with 3 draws, and then they beat Egypt in the round of 16 on penalties. Since the match went to penalties, on record that is still considered a draw. So right now DR Congo have 4 draws, 0 wins, 0 losses. Meanwhile, Guinea have been silent warriors in this tournament. There was some hype built around this nation due to Guirassy being so excellent this year for Stuttgart. An incredible goal scoring record in the Bundesliga, he has still failed to score a goal in this tournament. And Guinea as a whole have only scored 1 goal max per match. They advanced to the knockouts as one of the best third-place teams, and it was easy to believe that Equatorial Guinea would knock them out after Equatorial Guinea topped a group with Nigeria and the Ivory Coast. Yet Guinea by far were the better team in that match, scoring a very late 98th minute goal, but definitely looked to have things under control after Equatorial Guinea conceded a red card. Mohamed Bayo has been their big game player as he has scored 2 of their 3 goals so far. So like I said, these guys have been silent warriors, but for DR Congo it's really interesting to consider because although they haven't won or lost any of their matches, they did draw to 2 giants of this competition, Morocco and Egypt. But I gotta say, I love to see the confidence shining in this DR Congo side. I mean, the perfect example to that is when their goalkeeper was up for the last penalty against Egypt. Lionel Mbase with the smile on his face, scoring that winning goal. He knew he was about to be the hero. To me, this is a flip of a coin. Clearly, DR Congo are a side that are very tough to break down for a lot of these teams, but we thought the same for Equatorial Guinea, and Guinea were able to break them down by just that 1 goal to seal the deal in the 98th minute. I would not be surprised if that moment happens here once again. However, this time I'm saying DR Congo are able to hold on. This match finishes 0-0, goes to penalties, and DR Congo advances once again with this type of outcome. If Guinea do win though, I see it being in a very similar fashion to how they knocked out Equatorial Guinea. Best of luck to both teams. Now for Mali versus Ivory Coast, another set of sides that I failed to predict correctly. Now before the round of 16 match against Burkina Faso, Mali were looking to be the better side going into that match based on their form. But that was my potential Afcon twist, which I failed to predict correct, and other stuff happened. They are right now undefeated themselves in this tournament with 2 wins and 2 draws. It's a young, energetic squad that definitely looks to have belief to flourish in the future. Still awaiting to qualify for their first ever World Cup, but I actually think they have what it takes next time or the time after that. This side continued to press and attack no matter the situation they're in. They don't just sit back, and that's what throws some teams off, I guess. Very organized team that just plays beautiful attacking football, and they'll be very happy with the result against Burkina Faso because last time they got knocked out to Equatorial Guinea in the round of 16. And not to mention, this was a massive obstacle as Burkina Faso were semi-finalists in the last Afcon. But now, they're taking on the hosts, who are by far the toughest team to predict in this tournament. They are so lucky to be in the knockouts in the first place. After losing their final group stage match to Equatorial Guinea 4-0, it was a huge possibility that Ivory Coast would not advance to the knockouts, as they simply relied on other teams to be worse than them in the stats amongst the third place ones. But regardless, their situation was still not looking good as their manager resigned after the group stage. So coming up against Senegal with the last minute new manager, it just looked to be very unlikely that they could go through. However, Emerse Faye has done a brilliant job guiding Ivory Coast to advance to the quarters. Senegal, I think, just got their tactics wrong in this and sat back a bit too much against Ivory Coast once they got that early goal. And as we've seen, Mali are not afraid to continue to attack if it is needed. Oh, this is a tough one, truly. At this rate, any match that features the Ivory Coast is impossible to predict. With Haller back from injury, though, he could make the difference here. And I'm going to say that despite Mali having some great chances in this match, I do think Ivory Coast can grab a narrow 1-0 victory to advance to the semifinals. Now moving on to Cape Verde versus South Africa. Sure, I shouldn't have been surprised based on how this Afcon was going, but yeah, I thought I would at least potentially get my favorites to win the whole tournament correct, and Morocco are out this soon to a brilliant South Africa lately. I was really not expecting this side to be so good this year, and they really picked themselves back up after losing 2-0 to Mali on their first day. 4-0 victory to Namibia straight after. A stale 0-0 draw to Tunisia on the final group stage match, sure, but then yes, round of 16 victory against Morocco is something any nation would be so happy to achieve. Morocco, just being the first African team to make the World Cup semi-finals, have now got knocked out. They absolutely failed to convert their chances, and South Africa took advantage of that. But then late into the match is where the drama really started. Morocco had the opportunity to equalize with the Hakimi penalty, but he went straight for the crossbar. In the 94th minute, Amrabat got a red card, a match that already looked to be over, but to sink the teeth in even more, Mokoena scored a beautiful free kick in the 95th minute. South Africa were the ultimate giant killers in the round of 16. Shout out to them and big up to their manager, Hugo Bruce. Their next opponent once again will be an obstacle though, despite maybe not looking so on the surface. Cape Verde have had a fantastic tournament, topping a group with Ghana and Egypt, being able to beat Ghana as well on the first match day, demolishing Mozambique with one of the best goals in the tournament, a 40-yard free kick from Bebe. The round of 16 match against Mauritania was a bit slower. They only scored a penalty there, whereas the other matches they at least scored 2 goals. But hey, they also have a dream that they want to keep alive. They're on an incredible run of form. This side has been quite solid over the past decade, but still overlooked by so many people. Now is their golden chance to prove themselves. We're just predicting this tournament now for the memes. I mean, I could easily get every single thing wrong here now. I'm not confident about any of my picks, and this one I'm feeling the least confident in. Genuine flip of a coin, as nobody expected this to be a quarterfinal match in this tournament. Sure, maybe you picked one or the other to make a deep run in the tournament, but you would not expect both to meet each other this far in. There's so many reasons to back both of these teams, and so much has been thrown around this tournament that I have no safe pick on this, really. Flipping a coin is more safe than trying to predict this outcome. Regardless though, I'm going for a 2-1 Cape Verde win, which means these are my least confident predictions on any tournament I will ever make for my semi-final matches to pan out as. Troll me all you want if I get all of this wrong, but don't act like you made some terrible calls this year either. What a beautiful tournament though. Make sure you let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Don't forget to hit the like button, subscribe if you're new. Thank you all for making it to the end. I will see you all very, very soon. Take care. Lá com noite.